Have you been curious about floor sleeping because you've heard of all its magical benefits, but you're
All right. Yeah. So like just the idea
Nice.
that like a streak or a stat
Mhm.
is like I like that's what so that's why I sent the Urban Dictionary the no nut November and then destroy
Mhm.
your dick December. Um
Mhm.
like the idea of taking a break from AI, the idea of I'm scared it's taking over my ability to perceive things, my ability to make choices, my ability to navigate the world. And the response to that being like, I'm gonna take a random month and not do it. Like,
Doesn't make
what
any
a
sense.
worthless thing. The status, like the idea that like a goal, like I loved that I love the idea, like your point about the fact that it honestly is a little pathetic when the goal someone sets themselves are lacking any metric that actually reflects said goal because their ability to learn has already diminished. It's akin to bragging about a 100-day streak on something. A metric can be applied to anything, but doesn't directly indicate anything. It's just a compact narrative you can share with the world. 115 days doing X, not zombie number. 1 month doing not doing Y, which is always going to be limited by the inevitable shallow understanding by the interlocutor. It's so true, and like that's what I think about Duolingo, the
Mhm.
app, the like language learning app. Like they
Mhm.
like it's like pseudo learning. Like there's been and like Duolingo like knows this. Like there's research about how Duolingo like doesn't actually improve language learning. And
Oh.
they're very clear that the point isn't to actually teach you language, it's to keep you on the app. So like people have these streaks. They'll have these streaks of Duolingo learning of I've kept up 200 days straight of learning this language, right? And they won't have learned anything, but that's because
Mhm.
they're so focused on the metric and the stat,
Mhm.
abstracted completely from any actual relationship to the goal, that they've lost sight of what the fuck this is all even about.
Yes.
Either you learn language or you fucking don't. It's not like who fucking cares how many days you're into it of like doing it. It
Mhm.
implies that you're learning the language, but if you're not able to use that to like communicate or express yourself, what the fuck have you even done? You've spent 115 days on an app. That's all you've done.
Mhm.
That's all that's happened. There's been no like, oh, I haven't used AI for a month. Well, if that hasn't contributed to you fundamentally approaching your engagement with decision making and understanding completely
Mhm.
differently, then you failed. There's just, that's why the whole no nut November and then I'm gonna fucking nut every day during December. It's like a
Mhm.
complete like parrot. It's like, oh, the first one's like, oh, I'm gonna avoid porn addiction. I'm gonna get away from this porn addiction. That's usually what no nut November is about. And it's like,
Yes.
no, but destroy your dick December is a joke about the fact that like now that November's over, I'm fucking back. I'm good
Mhm.
now. I'm fucking, it's like, no, like what the fuck are we doing here,
Yes. Um. The. I mean, it's funny because I never talk about the sort of. I mean, I talk about the core metrics that I care about, which is the card it takes for me to do it to complete a deck a day that it gives me. I say deck, that's not even like the right terminology for it, but it shows my stats on there.
Right?
In terms of 447 days streak, but I've never talked about I've never seen me. I guess you don't
Never.
know outside of the context of me talking to you. I never said 365 days. I never said this, that.
You've actually never said this until today.
Yes, exactly. I don't. To me, this and I hit 1,000 days, 1,000 rides on Strava um last week. And to me, it's just I didn't even do a special ride for that. To me, it's a not for me. The progression was okay. I'm particularly it was because I started chubby, and then because I did it every day, I lost weight, and so having that healthier context of well, I've been shamed my entire life for being
Right.
this way, and I've never did anything, and that's never helped me. But now I'm sort of touching my inner child of oh, this kid likes cycling, and furthermore, I liked exploring, and so I'm building a map of my local context of places. There are curiosities I've had for a decade and a half of, wait, where does this road go to? I don't know. I can just go on that road and see and then build routes based off of that. So for me, that's the context in which I lost weight, but then also gaining the stamina to go further.
Right.
Was that's the metric I judged. I'm going faster now. I enjoy, going faster, hitting those benchmarks. I'm come from the speedrunner context. I think that takes a lot of effort to keep going faster each day and keep hitting those particular metrics. But even still, I still don't super obsess over them, because there are also other
Right.
things that it takes away from, because I like listening to things. And then in addition to that, I also like exploring, and that is quite slow because you're winding through the same places and you're going on dirt tracks and see where these go. Because in the UK we have a bridleway system where you can go through private land.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
And so, but that's quite slow because the paths are not always super well maintained and quite muddy, especially at the winter time.
Right.
And so that's what I enjoy. And so, what does 1,000 rides that indicate? I mean, it indicates I'm, dedicated to whatever I'm doing. But
Absolutely.
I care more about I'm exploring. I now know how these two places connect. I've satisfied that. That's always felt better. So why would I feel good about base 10 number? That's just the base 10
Oh,
number. If we're using a different number system, like base 6, that wouldn't be anything of significance. What were you gonna say? You wanted to
oh
say
no, I was
something?
gonna say that you're exactly fucking right, because it's like, and this is something I forget the exact place I heard this, but it's some like really, like it's like an information theory argument. But the idea is basically that when a metric becomes a thing,
Mm-hmm,
then the game shifts to rig towards the metric. Like if you are
mm-hmm,
evaluating a person or a system based on a metric, the system or person shifts to like produce more of that metric,
mm-hmm,
and the underlying purpose of that metric gets lost. There was a book I read called Dark Academia,
mm-hmm,
about the UK's kind of shift towards but this is like all universities, but
mm-hmm,
quantization of like academic output. So like how many papers you published, how reputable was the journal, right? Okay, well, if those are the metrics, then you have every incentive to A, produce more papers than you need to, right? Say more than really needs to be said, kind of waste other people's time. Further, produce lower quality papers, because the number of papers is more important than the quality of the papers. You can't measure quality, but you can measure numbers, right? You can't
mm-hmm,
measure the long-term implications of a person publishing something so profound that it impacts like millions of scholars from years to come, but you can measure that there's two papers versus one paper, right? One paper that has a major impact might like have a longer term impact that you can't measure, but if you publish two papers, that's better than one, right? So the gamification of things happens when you strive towards a metric rather than the underlying purpose. And I
mm-hmm,
love what you were saying about how like, yeah, like for you it's not about like the number of rides or like the exact, it's like it's about what you get, what that enables you to do. It enables you to explore, to do those things, right? It like
mm-hmm,
you're learning Japanese, but that's the goal isn't a certain number of days in a row of doing Japanese. It's to know the language of Japanese. And people
mm-hmm,
like, so, and for me, one thing that I think is so interesting about this stuff is like people will often talk about these numbers and these days and not realize that it kind of sounds bad if you've spent years on Duolingo or going for things and you haven't achieved it. Like, I'm fucking 3 years streak into Duolingo and you don't speak the language. Like, doesn't that kind of sound bad almost at a certain point? Like, it starts sounding bad when it's so much about the metric and they still haven't achieved the thing. It starts like kind of doubling back on itself where it becomes kind of embarrassing, I think.
mm-hmm. Oh yeah. 100%. It's actually funny because the exact thing you were saying, which is when you start trying to achieve a particular metric, then everything shifts in order to sort of becomes ungenuine. It's sort of what I was
Yeah.
talking about in terms of dating culture, where you have, okay, paying for a date. What does that mean anymore when it's been so gamified to, because people know that, or people have sort of put assumptions on these particular actions, and so people are not thinking about, oh, I actually wanna help this. I'm not saying this is always the case, but a lot of the times, especially when um would you call it, you're not so secure with yourself, it's a particularly new thing for you, and you want that particular person on the other side of the table. This is from a male context, of course, but not exclusive to that nowadays, where you pay for the other person's meal. You're trying to suggest something. It's a game, but it's worse when it's, oh, okay, well, this is, I'm trying to affirm my gender role by, what do you call it, paying for the date because that's what you think is expected of you. Now it's stopped becoming, an act of gumption. It stops, and and that gumption is really what shows. Is what the other person is looking for. I would think, guys. I'm looking
Right.
for that gumption of, I tried to do something, and so that metric that's being set has now stopped. It stopped measuring what it's supposed to measure.
Exactly.
Um,
And it instead measures the gaming of the metric, I think.
yes.
Like that I think that's like a big problem with regulation in general, or like anything that involves like oversight of something. Like if it becomes a if it becomes a thing that I'm measured on my performance in a metric,
Hmm.
then the goal is to do on the metric. Like with tests to get into college, the
Hmm.
point isn't to actually know the material so well that you like can just pass the test as a result. The point is to study specifically for the test, to learn how to specifically answer the test questions, to specifically get the highest score on the test, right?
Hmm.
Whereas what you'd imagine is these tests measure the competence and ability of students as a result of their learning. It's in
Hmm.
fact measuring the ability to study for the test. And that's why the rich kids succeed, because they have the tutors, they have the fucking ability to game
Hmm.
these metrics, because they have the resources to target their skills specifically towards that. They don't, and so it's like it doesn't end up even measuring what it's saying it measures anymore. What it measures is the ability to compete in this arena, right?
Hmm. Oh yeah, 100%, absolutely. Um, which it
Like that's why book numbers are so stupid. Like people talk about how many books they've read in a year.
oh,
Like I read 60 books. I read 100 books, something like that, right? And it's like I don't know. I I definitely feel like I definitely read less books this year than I did previous. But to me, my main complaint is that the books that I read were just often of lower quality. Like
uh-huh.
I would have been fine to read like less books this year if the
Hmm.
books I had read had been better, but they just
Hmm.
haven't been. Like they've just been worse. They've taught me less. I've learned less. Again, this is kind of the speedrunning problem where I'm incrementally unable to gain as much, right? Like I've spent 5 6 years spent reading hundreds of books and papers every year. So of course, at a certain point, I start learning less per paper and
Hmm.
book. Like I recently read a book I was really excited for, and I was like, man, this sucks because I didn't like learn much. I kind of knew all this stuff. But the problem was the guy who wrote it, I had already listened to all their lectures, I had read all their papers, so I knew what they were gonna say essentially because of that. But I was still disappointed. I was disappointed they didn't go beyond what they've already kind of said. Um, but like, so that's the problem for me. Is like again, it's like, well, is that a +1 or a -1 book? Like, was that I read a book? Is that a +1? Oh yeah, that's another book. Like
Hmm.
that's another book on the
Yeah.
list. But it's like it isn't a +1 because I actually knew all this stuff because I had listened to this guy already, and I kind of wasted my own time, honestly. Like that's like you know what I mean? Like that's a problem.
Yes. 100%. Yeah.
Like should I
Um.
be bragging about that? Like no, that's a
Mhm.
failure. Like I failed by reading that book and like by not getting much out of it. And like
Mhm. Yeah. I was gonna say, yeah, the book culture. I'm not as familiar with it. I'm sort of an outsider observer. Another thing, this has been critiqued endlessly, which is the sort of amassing the bookshelf of a bunch of different
oh yeah,
books, and then you talking about how damaging the publishing industry is to the environment. But I was thinking too, right, is that just people are really obsessed with Japan. This is the
yes.
context for this. People are really obsessed with Japan. But cool thing is that they do pick up some really interesting subcultures that exist that I go, that's cool. Which is,
Okay.
particular communities that just want to share everything. I'm going, okay, that's really cool because I'm thinking I actually really like libraries. I enjoy libraries. Um,
Same.
I don't know if I would ever, and I really don't believe in collecting. I think it's fugazi. It's not a real thing. I believe in, I've
Yeah.
amassed a collection of individual items that I cared and cherished and valued. Okay, that's
Mhm.
to me that's valuable. But that's not it's not easily, yeah, I can't put that into a sentence to impress somebody because they may the set may only make sense to me with my context, with my lived experience. I can't go, oh, I have all the but people want to collect a particular set that's being defined by society. Oh, these are the, you know, original covers of, you know, whatever so and so book, right? And so to me, now I'm not saying this is a prescription for everyone, but I definitely do think that I mean, I pirate all my shit nowadays,
Hell
but
yeah.
I don't. Yeah, if somebody wanted to read Game of Thrones and they lived in my local area, I definitely would just give my books away. I don't need to
Hold them.
I don't annotate them at all.
Yeah, okay.
And I have two sets of the first two, so super could give them away. I don't care, and I would give away the one where so I have one that has the show cover on one of them, and I like the show cover better, but I only have it for the first two books, and so I'll keep the show cover of the second book, but the rest of the books will just be so it would look like an uneven set. But to me, I don't care. To me, it's I like that second cover, but to people that really care about sort of
It's a big deal.
abiding, yeah. So book culture is really weird. The sort of a mental block of oh, I can't read on, you know, any electronic devices, or maybe it's the other way around. I can't read on physical devices because you know, I want to see my progress bar. And I'm thinking, what the fuck does a progress bar mean? That just means you know how far it is to the end of the book, but why does that matter?
Right, exactly.
If you're acquiring knowledge throughout the book and you're enjoying your process. So I don't know what the progress bar means. It doesn't really mean anything. You've just ascribed the meaning to it because of, you know, other philosophies that progress bar is interacting in. I think those philosophies probably need re-examining. Because you shouldn't I don't think that reading, I get it, right? I have particular preferences, but there's one story that Foreign told me. I say to me, but it's more of on his channel. I don't know who the fuck Foreign is. That's where I got Fugazi from, by the way. But Foreign,
Okay.
he said something that is a story that's stuck in my brain. He was saying, this CS player, he was a good player, and what he would do is that when he would go to an event, obviously, your it's not your PC, and so it would just be the default config, and it would behoove you to change it to your preferences. And so, if you want to do well, but this guy would just learn to play with the default config. It's, oh, I don't need to, you know, worry about finagling with this. I just play with it. And this was way more. This was a long time ago, I suspect, because I think now it's fairly easy. You see people replicating their setups, but I would suspect that it wasn't super standardized back then. And so this guy just learned how to play the default config, but the guy had his own preferences too. He just learned how to play that way because it's, oh, you know, I just reset my whole PC and I don't have the time to go. It's sort of, you were talking about that one speedrunner from the game that you were showing me.
Maxing, yeah, maxing, yeah. Where
Yeah,
they just,
so
they're like, I'd rather just put all the time into the gaming. Yeah.
and so yeah, that's the sort of mentality, and I respect that because it's not there's obviously a disadvantage to playing with something that you're not used to, but I think the mindset of playing with something that you're not used to and just shutting up and getting on with it, I think that is so admirable. And so when people sort of really complain about oh, I can't read on Kindle because of this and that, I'm going, you're just limiting your ability to, you know, engage in one medium. Now if you get to choose, that's cool, but a lot of the times you don't. I just don't get to choose because I'm not going to be able to get the physical books, and so I'm just going to have to read electronically. That's just going to be something that I have to do, and so crying about it is never going to do anything for me. But also, I
Adapting
think
to it is the key. Yeah.
yes, that's also just the gamer mindset too. It's
100%.
I just want to. Okay, so in a previous conversation, the previous conversation we had, you mentioned something that I was talking about to you, but I don't know why I was like, that's really interesting. I don't know why I didn't go, oh wow, yeah, no, that's what I'm saying, which is basically,
right.
You were saying the what would you call it, our identities, right? Our life is basically battling with these identities. And I was basically
Yes.
saying, I was using I was saying my hypothesis of the world is, um, at least a lot of it is, there is a battle of identity going. When I see, and I always use EXE as sort of, a sort of baseline to analyze these things. Not only, I know a lot.
No, but
I
that's
know
a good one
that's a good one because
and a
I
common one and a
know
common one.
a lot.
Well, and we both know EXE, and we both
Yeah,
know.
we,
I know like less than
exactly.
you, but I know some. I know some, so it's like a base common. Yeah.
Exactly. And so seeing the way he interacts with particular things, it's really interesting because I think, wow, a lot of it seems as though he's battling identity rather than um, these could be overcome with just a reframing of philosophy, reframing the way you see particular things. When I see his Osu struggles, I go, yeah, I struggle with, Japanese and, potentially not making progress. Sometimes I've gone for months and I'm going, I don't know if this is going anywhere. Maybe I need to, have a serious rethink instead of, just, building up more vocab. Um,
Yeah.
and for me, I'm still, the thing is, I'm still very satisfied with, everything that I was doing.
Right.
Um, it was just fun to engage in Japanese, and it was just very fun in general. Sure, there is that crisis, these crises that I would have. I go, okay, well, I'm getting really frustrated here. I want to, I fucked up on a really basic thing, blah blah blah.
Right.
But that wouldn't hamper my enjoyment. I wouldn't have to. I wouldn't just burn out. Whereas he would particularly burn
Spiral.
out. And not be able to play the game and rant to me about it. And I've never really felt the need to rant about my troubles with Japanese. It's always I'm always very positive about learning Japanese. I'm just
Right.
always
Right.
in a really good mood, and yet we still hit the same stagnations. And I'm thinking, okay, there's clearly something else going on in terms of we're deriving happiness from a completely different place, and maybe he needs to and I told him this. I had a big long talk with him about it, and the thing is, he can't. I don't know how convincing that can be because you can't just change your. I said this, you're not going to change your mind in one day, but I think you should
Of course
consider
not.
what I say, and I know he waits what I say. And so the thing is, he came back to me the day later. He said, I just had the best Osu session in a while.
Oh, awesome.
And so I'm thinking, okay, I think I might be onto something. Maybe it's
Yes.
the fact that I just listened to what he said, and I was so attentive, and maybe that somehow affected him. But I do think I'm hitting on something where there are particular philosophies, and I think a lot of them are baked into identity in terms of let's say, what it says about you in terms of
Yes.
how far you can get. Because he always used this example. There was this really young player, and he always used this example. And I'm going, EXE is quite a young guy, and he
Right.
and him consistently using this young guy as an example, and even stressing that to me because I don't watch these guys, so I know about this guy's age because he stressed this to me. I'm going, there's something
Right.
going
Right.
on
Right.
here where a particular identity thing where he's a young guy but he's not reaching the same heights, and there is some comparison going on here. And so that could especially, and this just connects to other things where he's talked about in life in general, in terms of the way people see him. I I'm really thinking that that is seeping into Osu, and him judging his capabilities, and so he's battling with identity rather than
Sure.
anything else, and it's hampering his enjoyment. And so yeah,
Well, to add on to that, real quick,
Mhm.
that what you're saying about why, like, oh, I think it's part of like, where people, if they're feeling like they lack validation in a lot of parts of
Uh-huh.
their life, then yeah, like it's not just that Osu is really important in all these ways and it signifies all these things and they're really invested in it. It's that it's like the last, like, if I can't even do this,
Hmm.
like, it's like, I don't even get this validation in other areas of life. And there's like, I'm like kind of really putting all my eggs in the basket of Osu as like the thing that validates me as a certain type of person, you know?
Hmm. Yes, and that's particularly what, just from how he speaks, he wants that validation. He really values that validation, and
He actually
To
sent me a
me,
voice message out of nowhere, by the way. He's doing
oh,
really well, like
interesting.
out of
Good.
nowhere. Um, like he basically like what he said was that he has like 3 IRL friends right now.
Oh, okay.
He has the most IRL friends he's ever had. He was saying
Mm-hmm.
that uh the uh so his IRL friend um is like one of his IRL friends is like very autistic and like very interested in like Star Wars and rap and gaming and all these things that he also shares.
Mm-hmm.
He was saying another friend, so his brother, is involved in that driving company, and he said
Mm-hmm.
one of his friends lost a job, but then he went to his brother, and he told his brother like, hey, this guy is a good guy, he's a good kid, like he knows how to drive, like could you hook him up with a job, and the brother was like, yeah, like I trust your judgment, like if you um if you say he's a good kid, I'll put him in, so that guy's there and he's doing well. And then this friend is also helping him get his driver's stuff going.
Mm-hmm.
And so he's like, and then his brother had a conversation with him, a really long one, where his brother was saying like, you got to give yourself more credit, like you've done a lot more than a lot of kids your age would. He talked about how his fact that his credit score was good, like allowed him to help his mom not be homeless and all this stuff. And so like he's
Mm-hmm.
just like, he sounds like he's in a really good place right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, that brought a big smile to my face. I was like,
Mm-hmm.
good for him, like I definitely, I think that the conversations he's had, especially with you, but with other people too, like it definitely had the impact of like him seeing that he needed to make a set of changes. And then like I think he's reaping the benefits of it right now, which is really good just to hear, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's also good to recognize that like the battle with identity can often be overcome in that sense. And like, again, like he needed the IRL friends, he needed the validation from his brother, he needed these things. And I think
Mm-hmm.
now that he has them, he's in a really good place. And that probably is gonna help him ironically with Osu, because he's
Mm-hmm.
not gonna feel the pressure to prove himself in this one arena he feels like he has. And then that's going to give him more of an ability to experiment and have fun with it, and then
Mm-hmm.
probably get more out of it, frankly.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, that the but here's the fucked up thoughts I always think, right? Which is um it's the same thing. Okay, so when you change your external environment, I think that's good. But I mean, the thought process I go where I never wanted to get glasses because of a particular thing. There's something I noticed in Trickies too, where we kind of share this. Where I have to sustain myself by myself in terms of if I've got
yeah,
all my legs are being
independence.
cut off, or I need to wake up the next day and I need to go, I'm good, that sort of reset my
Yeah,
config, and I just need to be able to play. That's the sort of mental resilience that I seek.
right.
And that's why I'm that's why I exist with the particular set of traits that I do in terms of anti hive mind. I'm anti being anti hive mind is that sort of independence, but it's also a proof of I can sustain myself without
Yes.
hitting
If you're back
these.
in the apartment with your mom, like you're okay.
Mhm. And the
I mean, that's a big thing just to say. Like, if you're like,
mhm,
I think part of the identity of deprivation, of if a
mhm,
person has been deprived of something, part of their identity is like learning to not rely upon it, and like I'm good even if I don't have it anymore. Like
mhm,
some people, if they were like they never kind of got love when they were younger, or they sort of had a difficulty growing up and like being with other people, they'll often not want to be with people because it's like, well, what happens if I lose them? You can just lose these people, so they'll like
mhm,
focus on like they'll be loners more so, and like kind of so there's just there's like an interesting thing with that too, where it's like, well, I don't want to risk losing this thing, so I'm gonna learn how to not like to exist without it.
mhm.
You know?
Yeah, I'd probably say, is that what they call maladaptive, where you adapt but in a negative way?
Well,
Um,
I mean, it could be maladaptive. It could be adaptive, because it's like, like not if you're actually in a situation where, like, practically speaking, it's
mm,
difficult to imagine you'll consistently have something you think you need. Then, yeah, learning to not have it, like, that's adaptive. It's not even maladaptive. It's just like
mhm.
you probably
No.
actually won't have that thing, and you're adapting to not having that thing.
Mhm.
And it's like, well, yeah,
Yes.
that's good. I mean,
That
like
that.
therapists might call it maladaptive, but it's like, I mean,
Mhm,
go fuck themselves. Like that's nice for them to say from like with their family and like with whatever it is, right? Like there's a
mhm,
there's an interesting thing there. It's like, well, it's maladaptive from their perspective, but from my perspective, it's adaptive because I actually don't have a reliable way to get that. Like, right? Like,
yes. I was thinking more of it, specifically the cutting off relationships, because
oh, sure, yeah, that is maladaptive, probably.
or not
like
cutting off,
ending it
but
early and not letting that begin because you're worried about
or
never
that too.
noticing it.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes,
that
I
element of
think
it.
that's
Yeah,
super mal. I was
that is
talking
definitely
about that
maladaptive.
specifically, not the
Yeah, yeah.
oh, you're super mono and mono when you can sustain yourself, because that's been my context. And I really value that. I really value the internal work, but I also do notice that EXC also had very similar circumstances. And I always wonder, why the fuck is he so different from that? That's when the sort of and now I've been listening to Richard Sapolsky. I'm thinking, that there must be a significant or not so insignificant genetic factor. Plus, there's way more parameters that I just don't know that exist. So I can't fully understand somebody's context, and small things that could just trigger something that sends you down a completely different route. But I'm very surprised at how many similar things that we have in common, but we're very different people in terms of he just seeing him mentally destroy himself in thought loops, and I just have to talk to him. Just no, but also him struggling to just comprehend the way I think is also really interesting in terms of he was saying, how do you love yourself? And I'm going, I don't even really particularly love myself, but I definitely enjoy my existence. I exist in the world.
I enjoy existing too.
Yeah, super. I enjoy existence, right? But I'm not necessarily and I'm very fortunate to exist in that. Maybe it's just that I haven't bought into free will for a long time now. And existing in a context without free will, knowing that certain situations make us I guess it's more of on a population scale, but certain situations put us into certain conditions, put us and give us certain ideas of the world and all that stuff. For me, it's really hard to get upset. Now, now more so. That's why I can't really get that upset over EXE. I'm upset in the moment, but I couldn't send him, a really harsh message or something. I'm just gonna leave that. Same with Tricky's. I'm upset, but I'm not upset to the point of, when somebody mentions his name, I'm gonna go, I had fun with this guy. I
Your
can see
nose
why.
starts bleeding. You start shaking.
Yeah, right. Other people have, music ruined for them, or other things that they found fun that's associated with a particular person that I had a close bond to, that the relationship didn't end so well, and I just never want to be in that position. I can never think that way, especially when I know these things just happen. Not to say that I shouldn't be angry, because you still need to be angry in a way where to expect a better world, because then it's like, oh, I've just been gang raped, oh okay, well I'm fine now, I need to self-sustain. That'd be insane.
And day goes on, tomorrow's a new day.
But in some ways you don't hold all the cards, and you kind of do need to do that because to some extent you can't. There's not really anything, you can't be unraped, and so you do have to actually just keep going on. But for a better world, you need people to be angry to fight for these changes. The people that have fought for, thinking about the world that came before in terms of women and the particular abuses that they were more susceptible to. People needed to be angry and fight against that and spend their whole lives fighting for that to see the changes that we see today. This is built on anger and body. So I need to play a perfect balancing game of how angry should I get so I induce change, but also not so angry that I don't just destroy myself.
And it becomes impractical and like maladaptive in that way. Like I think that's when it is like when you start turning the disappointment in on yourself and like making it like, oh, this is such a classic me, not being able to be happy. Wow, that's so me. I can't fucking make friends. Oh, it's classic. It's like that's when you start defining yourself by your failures. I think that's a big fucking maladaptive like moment for sure.
The narrativization, that's one that's also really bad. When you narrativize your life, where in terms of you see, Dr. K was saying something, he was bum to society, not bum to me, I think brilliant mind, and clearly, where this guy had he was obviously fortunate enough to, and that's what I'm saying, you start seeing all these lines where this guy's clearly a fortunate guy in terms of the family that he had to send him into India and then have connects over there to start you know, or trying to become a monk, because that's what he wanted to do at that particular time. But something that he did is after coming back is that he kept failing to get into university. He was going to university before he failed and decided to try again, and then just kept on failing to get into university. And
Mhm.
he said, okay, you know, I've failed so many times, but we see failure as a stack, and we start narrativizing. Oh, I'm failing because, and obviously there is a reason why he's failing. He's probably failing more so than other people, but also he's also trying way more in terms of, okay, I failed here, but let me just keep going because I'm never gonna find out,
Right.
and so I can't narrativize this failure. I have to see these are just individual failures that have stacked up.
Right.
And seeing that as a way to keep on moving, the way he formed his identity was completely different to how most people form their identity. And also, it's probably in that way in terms of you kind of just do need to try as much as possible in a, I mean, some people call it the delusional hope, but it's not so delusional to keep on trying over and over and over again, if you can afford it, of
No,
course. Um,
it's not.
you should keep trying. If you can't afford it in terms of materially, of course, but if it's your ego that can't afford it, I think you need to rethink your identity and rethink the way you're narrativizing life, because you kind of do need to. I think because I've been in that position in terms of, you know, applying for jobs and failing. You know, I built that narrative and I didn't apply for jobs for so long because I built a narrative in my head that, you know, I'm a particular way, and breaking out that narrative, hearing these stories and forming hearing ways that, you know, these are, or just, I'm not gonna say I figured it out on my own, but it is talking to a bunch of different people and
Yeah.
hearing these stories from that where that have, you know, unique ways of conceptualizing the world, hearing these stories and then going, oh, okay, maybe this is an identity thing, and
Right.
then hearing you say that too is like, okay. So clearly we're coming to very I don't know why I don't know why I didn't latch onto it. That's crazy. I'm going like, yeah, it's an
It makes
interesting
total sense. It makes total
yeah.
sense, right? Because it's like
Yes.
you have to. It's like, and I think the same thing with uh, like it's like okay, so like one of the interesting questions is about aspiration. So
Hmm.
how do you? Because like okay, aspiration. There's like a philosophy book on it that I read some of, but honestly didn't read most of it. But
Uh-huh.
I read the first chapter of it, and the idea here is that okay, how do you know what you want to become
Hmm.
before you become it?
Okay.
Like that's the question the book is trying to answer. Like how do people aspire to become something before because they're not that thing yet, right?
Hmm.
And they're not even they're like what that thing is an image slash narrative in their mind
Hmm.
that they've been told or perceived, but like is that really an accurate description of like what it means to be the thing they're aspiring to be,
Oh,
right? Like do they
most
even
of the
really
times not.
know what they're trying to become? So like a
Hmm.
big part of it is like okay, like I think like it's like a zombies thing, but it's like part
Hmm.
of it is like also who you're around and
Hmm.
the values that sort of implicitly get communicated in those moments. And I think there's a lot of it kind of comes from insecurity
Hmm.
in an interesting way, where it's like if you hear a lot of people talking about something being valuable or
Hmm.
hearing people talk about something being stupid, then you
Hmm.
just take on board like I probably should avoid being seen as the person who does the stupid thing, or I probably should, you know, strive to get to do the thing that people say that they value and stuff. And so a lot of it's like about who you're around. But it is still an interesting question of like, well, how do you know what you want to become before you become it? And I think a lot of it is like, well, you have a story about who you are,
Hmm.
and then you hear something that sounds like, oh, I should be like that. Like my
Hmm.
narrative of who I am tells me that I should be like that. So like if you have a narrative of yourself as a good zombies player, like and you find out that a lot of people who have that same narrative about themselves or demonstrate that like are doing things a certain way, then it's
Hmm.
just natural that you would also do that because you're a good zombies player. And a good zombies player is the thing that you aspire to be, but also
Hmm.
see yourself as. So it's like aspirations both like, oh, like I want to become this. I aspire to do this, but it's also like I do that because of I am the kind of person who is the thing I aspire to be. Like I already have within me the set of things that makes me become that. And then it's like if you have a narrative about yourself of yourself being stupid or yourself being whatever and unable to do something, then you have a narrative about yourself which says, I'm the kind of person that fails. I'm the kind of person who is unable to be happy. I'm the kind of person who can't find love. I'm the kind of person who, etc. And then so you basically are going to aspire to be lonely because
Mm-hmm.
your self narratives are telling you that you're the kind of person who's almost destined to do X, Y, and Z.
Mm-hmm.
Like a lot of people who are in sports, like they have these completely delusional narratives about themselves. 99.999% of people who go into professional sports will
Mm-hmm.
never succeed. They're all dreaming the same dreams of winning the Grand Cup, of being the MVP, of, they're
Mm-hmm.
all aspiring to become like this type of person. And they kind of have to be a little delusional. They kind of have to like be like, no, like, unlike everybody else, I am destined to be a great football player. I'm destined to be a great, right? But it's like, logically speaking, you're not. Logically speaking, everybody like you fails, right? But you have
Mm-hmm.
to have a sense of like delusion, which allows you to aspire to something that probably won't happen. So I think that's another interesting question: is like, does aspiration always have to be like reasonable? Does it always have to be like logical? Like, oh, it's logical that I aspire to this because I'm this kind of person. Like, can it also be the case that you just have faith, or you're hoping, or you're going to give it a shot that you do something very unlikely? Like,
Mm-hmm.
and like,
Yeah.
then the narrative can be, at least I tried, which is
Mm-hmm.
better than like, I shouldn't try because I'm a failure. Like, my narrative is that I'm a failure person, so I can't even succeed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So like, I think that's like a big part of this too. So there's identity, there's aspiration to become some new identity. That comes
Mm-hmm.
down to how you perceive what that identity is and what it means to be that identity. And then
Mm-hmm.
there's the narrative you tell yourself of like who you are in pursuit of that identity. So you're like, oh, I'm the kind of person who really needs a girlfriend. I'm the kind of person who really needs love. And then you don't have it. And then you're like, I'm the kind of person that's destined to be alone. Even though I have this desire, I can't fulfill it, and therefore I'm destined to be alone. And so there's like a self-defeating narrative that gets formed.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Like, so even if you aspire to something, the failure to achieve that quick enough can lead to a self-narrative which makes you not be able to achieve it at all.
Mm-hmm. So.
And then every interaction with girls or whatever becomes another validation of this thing that you believe. Like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, look again, another girl who didn't want to talk to me. Oh, look at that. Like, you're proving to yourself constantly this narrative you've developed because you're
Negative
constantly
validation.
checking if it's real. Right, exactly.
People actually seek that out too, which is unintuitive. Well, at least I think initiatively it sounds unintuitive, but I think in terms of it really makes sense in terms of the way you see there are particular ways of using the internet where that are ripe for comparison, and those comparisons sort of, or even, oh, actually, here's one which is and I saw this in real time with EXE, which is he stayed in the server where his ex was in, and I know about the narrative that people stalk their ex on social media, and he did exactly what people, he sort of followed the narrative that I've been told in terms of, oh, people stalk their ex and then compare themselves to particular people in the pictures or whatever. He's just like, oh, what does this person have that I don't? And it's that question is already sort of it's the incorrect
It's a
question
bad
to
question.
ask.
It's the wrong question. It's the wrong question.
Exactly, because all you're doing is looking to negatively validate your identity. I guess it's
Because you
still
don't have the
validation.
information to actually judge that. You actually don't have the information
Exactly.
to make that judgment. Actually, like, I think it's
Mm-hmm.
actually fine to ask the question of, why did the relationship fail? Why did this
Uh-huh.
person decide another person should be like with them and not me? And I think the answer is that if you're going to judge it based on like looks and photos and like, oh, this guy's tall, or oh, this, like, you're asking the wrong question, you're approaching it the wrong way, but you're also not
Mm-hmm.
being honest with what you can answer. Like, what you can say is actually far more diminished because you don't know their relationship. You don't know how they are behind closed doors. You don't know how happy they actually are, right?
Uh-huh.
They could actually be really having a bad time. And you're looking at that being like, God, I got to be more like this guy. But actually, she's going to move on from him in like a week. And you have no idea. And
Mm-hmm.
so
Yeah.
you've created this narrative of this guy being better than you when really you have no, like, there's literally no way you can know. So I think that's another point is people will like often look to make an analysis and not ask themselves, do I even really have the information to make this assessment?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Very and the internet is the worst thing for that because it's very hard to gauge how
It
other
is.
people are doing. Um,
Everyone's like lying.
Yeah,
Like
kind of. I
they're all
mean,
presenting like a part of like a they're presenting an idealized like version
of
of
course,
themselves, like
yeah.
not lying, but just like an idealized like you know
Mhm.
picture of themselves.
That's the way social media has been formed. um, Now, intentionally or unintentionally, I think it's always just going to exist in that way where it's just a window panel of particular things, and well, that's something that I definitely don't, I don't post on social media like that. Um,
Yeah.
where I haven't posted on Twitter in so long, and I don't see the point. But it's really interesting watching these sort of more normie people, and it's always late. When it's the ladies that always talking about TikTok, and they talk about TikTok narratives, it's really funny. I'm thinking that's just another window. In terms of you're looking at these particular people's. I thought that was you messaging me. Um, and it's funny that it was Frenzy that pinged me talking about what's the most advanced dish you made, which is because I like posting what I've made on Twitter because
Yeah.
I found that satisfying, and also being asked by people, sort of the validation of people being interested in what I'm making, and so I'll post. That was definitely pretty fun. But yeah, that window, and seeing the sort of, it's not really exactly the same thing because seeing narratives form on social media isn't the same thing as the sort of window effect, but it is in a way where I don't want to buy into that tall narrative because in some ways I recognize that certain narratives
Hey,
can
how tall are
be,
you?
yeah, how tall are you? Yes. What the fuck
I'm
is
6'1".
um I'm I'm the same height as you. Um
Shout out. So like, who cares? Like we're actually
yes.
we don't even need to worry about the narrative. Like we're fine actually. It's not a
Yeah,
problem.
we're
So,
actually fine,
but
yeah.
like, yeah,
We're gonna be
but like that's another
tiptoeing
thing.
just to get the extra inch.
Yeah, no, that's another thing. Is like I'll like lie about how tall I am. I'll be like I'm 5'11", and somebody goes like, no, you're not. Like because I'm 6 feet tall, and like I'm taller than them, right? And they're like, no, you're not. Like you're, and like so other people's narratives of themselves get like fucked up when I like lie about my height. Like I tell people I'm shorter than I
Uh-huh.
am. It's really fun.
Yes.
Uh, yeah,
Oh, in real life, you're talking about in real life. I was
yeah,
talking
in
over
real
the
life.
internet. No, yeah,
No,
and I was
in
gonna say
real
that.
life.
Yeah, that makes
In
way more
real
sense in real
life,
life.
it's super
Yes.
fun. People hate that. People hate when I say that I'm 5'11". They hate it so much. So like,
Uh,
no, you're not,
yes,
because they're
I
all
like
rounding
that.
up, and I'm
Hmm.
rounding down.
I like rounding down. Yes.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just like the number five more, so I'm gonna go with 5'11".
5'13".
Wait, hold on. Let me look at this. Wow, GoTubers is really interesting.
Okay.
I'm on a sustained algorithm of Go YouTubers, just so
Wait, can I
different.
show
So
you something real quick?
yeah, go on.
Check this out. So I made something really cool. I'm working on it now. It's not done yet, but
Okay.
it's a way to uh, process PDFs,
Mm-hmm.
translate basically any document
Uh-huh.
into EPUB Markdown format, and also create audiobooks out of it. So
Mm-hmm.
check this out. So a big part of it is that it's a combination of like local Python programs that I'm
Mm-hmm.
working on in VS Code
Mm-hmm.
using vibe coding stuff. But by the way, side note, it's so funny to me that like the only good model for GitHub Copilot is clearly Claude Opus 4.5 because look at
Mm-hmm.
this. All of the other ones, they fucking charge you like 3x the rate for 4.5, and all the other ones are 1x or free. Like
Wait,
they're
that
like, no, 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 use the
those
other one.
are paid?
So if you have GitHub Copilot, if you have like Premium, which is like
Uh-huh.
$10 a month, you have a certain amount per month of requests you can use that are premium. And
Mm-hmm.
so this is a premium request that's 1x the rate. Then
Mm-hmm.
there's this, which is 3x the rate. These are the
Uh-huh.
ones that are trying to get you to use, which are 0x the rate.
Mm-hmm.
But like Codex Max GPT 5.1 is 1x. Anyway, but so this is like, so here's the idea, right? It's like, um, I do a new project. I'm like, okay,
Mm-hmm.
this is going to be the project. And I'm like, let me get the source file. So
Mm-hmm.
this, and then it's gonna go. All right, I'm gonna see if I have all the OCR packs. Like if I don't have a language pack, I can select it. It'll help me install it. It's
Mm-hmm.
like, oh, this doesn't have OCR'd, so you need to run an OCR engine. And I'm only running one page just to show you really quickly.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm like, oh, this is a magazine. And then I'm like, all right, let me do a manual. So I've set up a thing where I can basically uh like select these boxes, and it auto creates the table of contents for me
Oh.
via me
Oh
doing
wow.
this. And it also trains, I add a tag,
Mm-hmm.
right? And it's training on my selections to then in future ones with the same tag auto extract this table of contents. And then this is added in to a prompt,
Mm-hmm.
okay, where I'm like create project. This is now added into a prompt where I can then send this document out. It'll then like extract it into markdown format. I then
Mm-hmm.
upload it to Google AI like Studio with
Mm-hmm.
a certain prompt that is here. Which like for it, like it auto creates this. If I want to use a just reformat, I copy it, it'll give me different ones. If I want to translate it, I'll get different ones.
Mm-hmm.
For example, what I've been able to do, for example, is this was a PDF in French from 1994, and I
Mm-hmm.
was able to make an EPUB with perfect footnote extraction. So it's like literally, it's like I made out of a scanned PDF a
Mm-hmm.
full publication quality ebook, which I then can convert into a text to speech locally
Mm-hmm.
using an audiobook engine. And this cleans up the text such that it removes all the footnotes to make like the MP3 a perfect audiobook. And I can adjust the rate, I can adjust the voice, I can adjust like the chunk size, I can adjust the pitch. And
Oh
so it's
wow.
like a translation, document editing, like engine that I built using the fucking AI coding stuff,
Oh
basically.
wow. That's
So random,
crazy. That's it. That's crazy useful.
right?
The
Yeah, when I finish, I'll
especially
send
for
it your way.
especially particularly for your interest. Oh yeah, I can
Oh
have
yeah,
particular footnotes, but then audiobooks. In terms of
audiobooks, and
yeah.
also again, it's
Mm-hmm.
all stored. Like another thing is that I want to be able to look through the text of
Mm-hmm.
all these documents and be able to search it. The PDF OCR automatic stuff is
Mm-hmm.
kind of dog shit most of the time. And so what I want to be able to do is I want to be able to like have a thing called uh, Doc Fetcher, which is
Mm-hmm.
this local search engine you can build using a document library. And so I basically can have a super accurate like Google search for all of the books and papers that I have, like with it, like locally. And I don't have to rely on OCR being dog shit and like, oh, it didn't return all of the results because the way that the document scanned made it seem like it was C1A instead of CIA. And so it didn't
Mm-hmm.
return CIA, right? I want it as accurate as possible when I'm searching it. And also storing it as text is so much less space than storing it as PDF files, which can be like multiple, can be, 270 megabytes or something for like a fully scanned book with
Mm-hmm.
really good OCR. And the difference between that is like, oh, this is like a fucking 2 megabyte markdown file that is like fully accurate
Mm-hmm.
and I can search through. And so like, I don't know, like for me, it's like that's like my version of self-reliance is like, oh, fuck hoping that like these AI tools stay around for a super long time. I'm
Mm-hmm.
building something that I can like do it all locally. You know what I mean?
Yes.
But yeah,
Mm-hmm.
so this girl. So here's why I sent this girl this
Mm-hmm.
to reverse it.
So we're not
So
going to be reading
she
all of these, but I did still
is
want
explaining
questions. So
that
we're going to
she
be
has a
reading
lot of
the first
books
book
that she wants to
Mm-hmm.
read
probably
on her
tonight or
bookshelf, on her
tomorrow. But
TBR
I think we'll
bookshelf.
wait on Christmas.
Mm-hmm. What's the TPR
But
bookshelf?
that's to be read.
Oh, to be read.
It's
Okay.
a
Like determine what they are.
it's a separate bookshelf of books that they haven't read and they want to read.
Like they all feel really
And
This is actually paperback. This is
uh it's
Mm-hmm.
so awesome. So again, because my whole thesis, right, is this is shopping addiction. Like
Mm-hmm.
all of the hobbyist stuff, all of the consumerist stuff, this is all shopping addiction with
Mm-hmm.
extra steps.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then part of why books are so fascinating is that no one will critique you for reading books. Everybody is like, oh, wow, you're reading books. I want to read more books. I wish I read more books, right? Like no one gives you shit for reading books. So it's a very
Mm-hmm.
effective shopping addiction to have. And so part of why I think this video is so good is I think validates a lot of what I'm saying because how they decide how can I make books and deciding which one I read more interesting, watch how she does it.
Welcome back to my channel and welcome back to Bookmas.
Bookmas.
So basically,
Oh,
we're
wow.
going to be reading some wrapped books.
Wait,
It's so
what
close
the
to being
fuck?
5 stars.
What the fuck are wrapped
Honestly,
books?
I could not be more
Watch.
excited for today's reading vlog because this is the first reading vlog I've ever filmed. I don't know what books I'm reading, like going into this video. So basically, we're going to be reading some wrapped books in this video. And how I went about this is I told my mom go into my room, go to my TBR cart, and pick 5 books. You could judge it based on their covers, you could read the synopsis, literally whatever you deem necessary to select 5 books. Go ahead, pick 5 books, and wrap them without me seeing what the books are. And so she did that, and then I came in here, and without looking, I promise, pinky promise, I did not look, I flipped my TBR cart around, and now, like, all the books are covered, so I don't know which books are still here, so I don't know which books she selected. So we're not going to be reading all of these, but I did still want options, so we're going to be picking our first book to begin reading, probably tonight or, like, tomorrow. But I've been, like, I feel like a little kid on Christmas. I've been trying to, like, feel the books to try to, like, determine what they are, and I can't even begin to decipher what these are. Like, they all feel really hard. Okay, wait, this is actually a paperback. This is a hardcover. This is also a hardcover. This is
Oh, is this an adaptation to the shopping
This is a
addiction?
Yeah, because here's the problem, right? They don't know what books to read because they just bought a bunch of books. So
Uh-huh.
how can you make this a more enjoyable process? Well, it's like you're opening presents on Christmas. It's like you got a gift. It's like without buying something, you've bought something. And then you get to have the experience of opening it up, right? The consumerist experience of opening it up.
Mhm.
And that will then motivate them to read books they already have but don't really feel like reading.
So I'm literally trying to think, like, I don't even remember what books I had on this.
It's one of
TBR
those
cart. Like,
things
Of
where you
course,
adapt
because
to
they bought all the books.
something. Yeah, when you adapt to
Hear
something,
that?
but
I
the
don't remember what books I had.
adaptation is what'd you call it?
Evidence of what's going on.
Is sort of you're adapting to something when you're adapting to a philosophy that you have or an identity problem that you have, but
Instead of rethinking it. Yeah.
exactly, yeah, you need to rethink it. But you see why going all the way back, training all the way back in terms of when you change your external situation and then you therefore get better. To me, that's a very scary thing because that could be, oh, I have image, body related issues, and then I improve my look, right, by playing into standard popularity, appearance
Right.
metrics. I haven't solved the problem. In my opinion, that's not a problem being solved. That's you adapting in the framework that's fucking you over, which is you're not going outside of this. And that's why I get really scared when this was my whole thing with the hair thing with EXE, where, okay, you're getting your hair done. You feel good about that now. Now, you look really good with your hair, I was saying that. But I also needed to reiterate the fact that you need to feel good. It's good to feel good. It's good to feel good knowing that, you're perceived a particular way. There's a reason why you have that, but to feel really bad to the point where you don't even want to get your hair done because you feel too bad to even go outside.
Yeah.
That's you need to rethink your philosophy rather than getting your hair changed. Yes.
Big problem. Yeah. Like, if you're saying to yourself, man, I have all these books that I bought that I don't even know if I should read. I don't know which one to pick. None of them appeal to me as books. What I need to do is I need to make my mom go wrap them up and make them look like little Christmas presents, because when I was a kid, I loved opening up little Christmas presents, and it'll be like, I'm like a kid on Christmas, and it's like I'm giving myself presents, and like it's like I'm like, yeah, this is a problem. You're like exposing yourself so badly, right? Like you're exposing yourself in the underlying reality of like what you're actually thinking about books, which is like, the experience of getting a new one is better than the experience of deciding to find a quality one. So much so you have to make the ones you already have feel like they're new.
Yeah.
Like you're exposing the fuck out of yourself right now. Like I think and this is something that she like reading wrapped books. Like this is a trend. Like
okay. This is not good. It's not good.
No.
19 books I read in October. Reading wrapped books.
So a few days ago, I filmed my May TBR. I just thought, I know that this is one of your guys' favorite videos, and it's one of my favorite videos. So I just thought we should do another episode. We are going to be blindly picking my TBR for the week and reading
this is on a
books.
different
As
evolution of this.
3 books.
Oh yeah.
Right, it's a content trend now.
It's a trend because it's like a strat. It's like they all have this same like mental issue in terms of being shopping addicts. And but here's what's also fascinating. Do you notice how they all have a cart, a TBR cart? Like a cart, like a special cart. Do you notice that? Like
I didn't even know that. Yeah, I didn't know this was this.
It's not even just that they have a bookshelf called the TBR bookshelf. All of them have a cart a special cart where they store the books that they haven't read yet and want to read, and that's where they're wrapping it. So they're all doing the same strategy of making books interesting by basically making it a shopping thing. And then they're all doing it in the same way, which is having this special white cart that they keep books on where they wrap them up like little Christmas presents. And they're not even all doing it in Christmas time. Like, this was 2 months ago.
The cart.
Like, these are unrelated
No,
to
it's an
Christmas
autumn
presents.
wrap up. Come on now. They're wrapping them up in leaves. It's the autumn
Oh, yeah.
energy or whatever.
Oh, yeah. The fucking pumpkin spice wrapping paper.
I didn't realize that girls had just different experiences with the time of year in terms of, okay, now we need Bangladeshi slaves to work on our new fast fashion for the autumn. Sorry, I phrase it in the worst way possible, but honestly,
But yeah,
the consumer part sucks. But in terms of you're excited for a particular part of year and you express yourself differently, as long as it's not fueling the consumerist part, and if you're reusing particular old things, I think that's honestly cool and awesome.
I respect the strategy behind it in the sense of like, I respect that they're like thinking it through in this way.
Yeah,
But like,
it's the wrong way
like-
to think about it. Yeah.
but it's like it's revealing of a deeply malignant,
Mhm.
like, okay, like
I recently wrapped my entire TBR, coming in at 130 bucks.
I can't
made
believe that's a
deal with
name for it
myself
too,
that I was gonna
TBR.
be on a book buying ban until I read through.
she said
Book
I was going to
buying-
be on a book buying ban, right? In the same way of the fucking AI figure, it's like no buy October or
Yeah.
something.
Mhm.
So, as a mood reader, we'll see how this goes.
Mood
Get ready with me
reader.
to pick my first one.
Mood.
I'm already.
And so, but and this is another thing, is like there's a gambling element too. There's a blind box element of it too.
Mhm.
Like they're
regretting this.
pulling out
It's gonna
of
be
a
fine.
like
It's gonna be
random
fine.
thing.
Please be a
Mhm.
good one. Please be a good one.
Please be a good one. Please be a good one.
Okay. Okay. And we got number 123.
Cool. I
Okay,
actually wanted to
we
mention
kind of
this.
got here.
Super on topic. It's sort of touching on what we were talking about before in terms of adding that gambling element. It's sort of indicating that it's. I want to talk about this. Okay, so this was the response I sent to the article, and it was you notice how it's 1 month or whatever, it's just hitting on, it's like, why are we talking about sun and moon cycles in AI, and why is it 1 month only? why not continue doing it if you think it's bad, right? And touching on the same thing, right, in terms of not understanding okay, here we go. So people do this with phones, where I've got a phone addiction, and I'm thinking, what the fuck do you do on your phone? That you can have a lot of screen time, but you're doing particular things on your phone. That we're not all the same. It's not the same. I'm not the same as you. Now, I barely have any hours on my phone. I don't like using my phone. Because it's an inferior computer. That's why I don't like using the phone. But I'm on my computer a lot. So obviously I have a lot of screen time, but what am I doing on the computer? I'm not going to pretend that I'm the same as you. We're not the same people. And even treating it, and here's the thing, right? It's so easy to talk to other people about, that's a number, and then we can compare our numbers.
Right.
But it's not so easy to talk about, okay, what do we do that actually needs you? You need to be. There's a prerequisite of being mindful, and a lot of people are not mindful. I noticed when I came back from Slovakia, time moved so slowly because I was so mindful, because the context changed so rapidly in using a different resolution, in the heat that existed, in that I'm not farting as much anymore because I'm eating different foods or the air's different. I'm incredibly mindful. Mind is moving so incredibly slowly, but now it's just sped up to the point where everything just is going really quickly. And so that mindfulness is so key in, I hear, because Sam Harris is on some Buddhist stuff, and so I actually really like listening to his he'll put some of his waking up app talks on his thing.
Okay.
And I'm thinking, I'd never meditate. This doesn't even make any sense to me, because the way it's being sold to me is just, you just focus on breaths. But when he gives me an understanding of, okay, wait, why am I doing this? Why does this exist? And what is it for? He illustrated it perfectly with this one example of, okay, he's rushing, he's going to be particularly late to something, and so he could scream at his wife because she's in the way. He could, rush out and leave the house very, very, because he's rushing. But
Right.
he realizes that he stops in the doorway and goes, "I love you," to his wife. He's being mindful, because when you become myopic, this is how people crash their cars, because they're so locked in on something else. They got that tunnel vision. And
Right.
being mindful is jumping outside of that context and realizing that that's just a fake context that you created for yourself, and it's self-reinforcing in terms of, oh, if I don't get it's like, what, we're fighting over seconds. we're getting into trouble in our relationship on the road for half a minute, really, in total.
Right.
If you play everything perfectly, this is obviously really stupid when you go outside. And so that mindfulness is incredibly important. And so I think when the fact that that's not even in the conversation when we talk about screen time, but also there was something really cool that I don't know who asked this particular thing, but it was people talking about reducing screen time. And so already, that's, as I established, that's the wrong question to ask. What the fuck? This is not all made the same. These things are not made the same. But not only that, is that, why are we talking about reducing screen time in
the abstract?
Giving us it's specific tools to stop screen time. And I'm thinking, what the fuck does this mean? This doesn't mean anything in terms of, and why I bring this up is, with these specific books, right? It's okay, I'm gonna add an RNG aspect to it where I'm gonna go into the jar and then blah blah. If I'm interested in something, I want to put forth the gears in order to engage in it. I will go on a side quest, right? And so now
that's what I'm doing. I literally built a fucking engine to fucking translate a book perfectly, because I was like, go fuck yourself, and like, also, like, I don't trust these fucking AI. Like, the amount of constraint that I got going on to make sure it's a perfect translation, like, I'm having it do like paragraph by paragraph comparisons. I'm like fucking like I'm constraining it so the temperature is at 0.2, so it's like as little creativity as possible. I got a fucking system prompt going, so it's like following exactly what I say down to the fucking detail. Like, I'm like, I'm gonna fucking do this. I don't give a fuck if this has been translated into English. I'm gonna make that shit work, because I want to read that book. Like, that's how people should do it. It's like, nah, instead it's like, let me fucking pull a number out of a hat. What?
Yeah, exactly. What the fuck has this got to do with anything? It doesn't have.
You would be fine with reading any book. That's what I think. I think what you're saying is, I'd be fine with reading anything. And I'm like, what a fucking revealing ass statement to like sign up to. What a revealing thing to admit, which is that I'm fine reading anything. Like, wow, they're all books. Books are all the same. Like, what are you talking about? That's crazy.
Obviously, it's not the case.
They push back saying there's some level of curation because they had to, purchase the books in the first place. But it's like, they're mostly purchasing books based on the popularity of them and the location in the store and the trendiness of them on TikTok. So it's not even something they're actively engaging in themselves. And I actually think that's key to why they're so willing to like arbitrarily select books, because it's like, from the get-go, they're not even fucking the ones selecting the books in the first place. So they're totally fine with just letting some shit like say it for them, like, of course, because they're all like, that's already how they're operating.
Horrifying. Yeah, genuinely horrifying. And going back to the phone thing and how that applies to the phone thing, is that why you're doing all these preventative steps in terms of you're turning it into I'm enjoying this. No, just you need to have a particular thing, a particular focus, and that focus to, in a sense, consume you, or at least to consume a part of your time that you would have spent otherwise on doing things that you don't think in the long term particularly useful. I think that changes it. And I think where I got it from was this was the first time I saw the approach of, okay, other people just have different outlets for different things, and that was more effective at stopping an increased screen time than actual preventative measure. And I'm going, now, I don't know how, this was just a quoted thing. I don't know how would you call it, credible this is, but to me, intuitively, that obviously just makes sense. Now, I can't fully go off of intuition, but it fits into a lot of other perspectives I have on this, which is, if somebody is just really into something, I think it's really hard to stop them from being into it. And so having something to set forth the gears, right? It's not learning a language. I tried to learn French in school, and that's something that I took for my GCSEs. I failed it. And it was funny because you were talking about taking it for the test. We were basically just learning for the test. I wasn't actually getting in the context of the language. So I never really cared about school anyway. I couldn't remember anything to do with school. But I could remember, all 700 Pokemon up to the point that existed when I cared about it. So, yeah,
Right.
why is it that I can remember that, but I can't remember, it's like, oh, there were grammar rules? I didn't even remember that. Wow, okay. I can't believe there were multiple pronouns for you, depending on the... I completely forgot that. So having a sort of goal, and then pursuing that goal, I think it's something that when I hear about these no hobbies, and then people talking about, oh, hobbies are particularly expensive. I know some of them can be expensive, but also I've got that adapt mentality. I'm going, I know a
Figure it out.
photographer. Figure it out. Yeah, there probably going to be cameras out there that, man, people are probably making shit work with, some of people are doing challenge runs, Once you see challenge runs, when I see Brody Legs eating an Xbox 360 controller, making an Xbox 360 controller even work to begin with on a PlayStation 4, and then because he can't use his hands, he's eating the controller and then beating the fuck out of LTG, and then and then it's this guy. And I think that even on the official Street Fighter channel, they had a little documentary about it. Unfortunately, he died, and of course, LTG was talking shit on his death. But this guy, once you see him play, you can't go, oh, no, this guy's eating a controller and beating the fuck out of people and being highly ranked. You can't say anything. And so, to me, that's infinitely inspiring. Same thing about learning. I don't know if you talked to your cousin yet about the food anthropologist about
No,
the...
no, I'm not gonna see them for a while. Like they're
Okay.
they're super distant for me. But
Okay. But to me, that's super inspiring. It's I don't even know the context, but it's just that there is another person that took the road to learn, and that's something that at least I have some connection to outside of just watching YouTube. This is a closer connection. It's like, oh, this is
well, check this out. And this is what's so
Okay,
interesting
go
too.
on.
Is like it's not always like clear with like when someone does something is like, is that because that they did it or because it's something they were put into? Like my cousin, the reason they know Japanese is because in Portland there was a dual immersion program where they went to
Okay.
a simultaneous Japanese and English high school and
Okay.
elementary school and middle school.
Okay.
The whole time they were both simultaneous Japanese and English learners, right? So if they didn't have that, I promise you they would not have learned Japanese. So it's like
Okay.
I think also it's like, oh, this person like wow, it's like I think and then it's like, well, wait a minute. If I learn the fact that they in reality like did this because of just this like being put in this position, like whereas I am in no way being put in this position and I'm just choosing to do it myself, like I think giving yourself more credit in that situation
I don't
is
give
like
myself more
important.
credit. I'm going,
No, I'm not saying I'm
yeah, I know why you say that, but
yeah.
also I think it's I'm in a particular situation where I have the time to just spend time learning Japanese.
Right, no,
Understand why
yeah.
I understand why the people can't do that. And then having just the for vocab, my ability to remember the vocab is really good, and so I just have the particular ability where I have the right program. I'm learning a language where this program is specifically it's Anki, which is a Japanese word for memorization. So I chose this language, which I don't even really choose. It's just obviously because of the context that exists, and it's like, oh, video game culture, Nintendo, growing up with Pokemon, and then getting into anime. It's like, of course, Japanese is going to be the one. And there's this tool that just specifically works with my memory. It's like, oh, that's kind of really fortunate. And then I have the time to do it. Wow, everything is just where I've had a lot of time to think too, because I didn't immediately start doing this. I had the time to do it before. It's after a while, like, okay, let me engage in this when, particular philosophy just changed for me. I'm still, to me, I think a lot of people will go, oh, the other person is very lucky to be put in that situation, blah, 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 because they had less room to move in terms of there are less... If somebody puts you into something and you're a kid, you don't have the room to, rebel. You don't have a personality to fight back against that. It's just sort of, oh, I'm going against it. But in a way that I could have engaged in so many different other things, theoretically, because I had the room, the personality. But I didn't. I ended up on this route, and I'm still very fortunate. I can't see myself as better as that person. No way.
Oh yeah, there's
This,
no yeah, better or worse is not the comparison, but I just
mhm,
mean in the sense of like, oh, like here's a person who is like so
mhm,
immersed in Japanese culture that they're like, it's like, well, it's like it's always context dependent. And I think I was
mhm,
just making the same point you just made there, which is like, it's like, well, they were lucky to be in a position where it was incentivized and given to them that they would be learning this
mhm,
language, and
mhm.
again, like they went to Japan like 8 or 9 times on school trips because
Yeah,
the
that's crazy
Japan
for
like
them.
government is connected to the school
Yeah.
in like a direct way, which allows, so it's like it's like, oh well, that's part of it. And
Mm.
uh but yeah, so I think it's one of those things where it's like it's all context dependent, and like
I want to beat them more
um
now. Now that I know that.
yeah, you got to go 10 times, right?
Yeah. I
The
mean,
number, you got to do the number, you got to incentivize the number, you got, they had
uh
9, I got to do 10, right? Like
right. It's the it's really funny. I think a lot of anime culture is really or at least anime made for men. It taps into male culture in a way that I don't think a lot of other, like I said, like Hollywood doesn't. It's specifically nerd culture in terms of someone being better than you. I think the source of motivation where somebody is just even more insurmountable than ever. It's like, wait, they won't even. That was only 25% of my power. To when anime viewers hear that, it's the most hype statement ever. It's like, what the fuck?
yeah,
He was going full out, and that's not even the full. There's another form behind this. There's another.
yeah,
This is crazy.
yeah,
It's whoa. We need to get stronger now. So when you tell me that, I'm thinking, oh, hyperbolic time chamber. I'm doing, Naruto training with, shadow clones. To me, that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking, oh, okay, how do I train better now? That's always going to be my context. Now, that's obviously not just because there are plenty of people that have watched anime and not being particularly motivated to do particular things and felt what you call it, distant from their goals, even more so when they see somebody that's excelling more than them. But
yes,
uh, for me,
it's just
very
inspiration.
difficult.
It's like,
Yeah.
bro, like they weren't even going all out. Like
Yeah.
think about what's possible, and like that's something I've thought about with a lot of different things. Like
hmm
in my mind, it's like, oh shit, they died. That sucks. In
hmm
my mind, it's like if they
Someone's
can do it, I can
consistent
do it.
now.
Like, if they can do it, I can do it. Like
hmm
I was like, if they can do it, I can do it, and that's always in my mindset with so many different things. And
hmm
I don't know. That's part of my self identity, is that like I can do whatever I want.
hmm
So I have to prove that to myself. And I think that's sometimes helpful, sometimes
hmm
negative, but for the most part, really helpful, because it's like, oh, I have the sense that I can. And then I need to prove that to myself, because if I don't, then it means that I'm not what I think I am, kind of thing. So there's like
Oh
an incentive
yeah,
there
true. Yeah.
that kind of
It very
filters
much
back.
exists in me. Where,
Yeah.
yeah, I need to engage in this because yeah, I'm not gonna be hitting the identity that I've set for myself. But I like this narrative that I exist in. I think it's a fun narrative to exist in. Can't say I'm no therapist, so I have no idea what's healthy and what's not healthy. But I
Yeah.
like
Who
the
knows?
I like the self-sustaining mindset. In the
Yeah.
now it, it can you know can I'm talking about my level of self-sustaining, not like
Okay. Okay.
fake stoicism or whatever, where
Right. Right.
all your feelings are kept to yourself. And I think the first time I really got aware of it was Dank saying, "Oh, you can't even really share your real feelings with a woman." And I'm just going, to me that just seemed
What?
crazy. Yeah, it's just something he was saying. Yeah, what?
What?
Yeah, the
I
Muslim
just
one's a
imagine you
Dank thing.
responding that
Yeah,
way.
and
Yeah.
it's just I'm just thinking, like, why would you even want a relationship with a woman? And um, the what would you call it? The it's like, how do you envision these relationships to look like, where you can't even say your true feelings? That you think that's a topic that you can't broach. To me, that's fugazi. That doesn't exist. That's not a real relationship. That's just you're just sort of fitting a you're sort of hitting the check marks of what society expects of you, but you're not even satisfied with how that's turning out. So that fake stoicism, I don't believe in that, because I think a lot of it is just built off of insecurity and fear of somebody disengaging from you if you engage in the right way. Particularly for Dank though, man, maybe that is the move because he has some fucking crazy ideas, and I don't know how I don't know how now women just being the worst types of relationships, or at least hear stories about that. So who the fuck knows what a woman will put up with. But yeah, that just seems something that I couldn't put up with. It just sounds so vile and disgusting, his particular opinions on these things. So,
Yeah, it's too bad. Like,
I don't know. I'll let you deal with it.
yeah, do we go to FedEx? Like,
It says you can make other arrangements or something. So like, there's options.
okay, awesome. Thank you.
Sure.
I'll look at it.
gosh. Bye bye.
Yeah, I got this. I'm trying to get this. I'm trying to get this package came that should have come. And I guess since it's like an expensive object, they weren't able to deliver it straight to me. And so they're like, oh, there's other options. Like, do you want to come pick it up, or do you want to like have us try again to deliver it, kind of thing.
Interesting.
I'm getting this a NAS, if you know what that is, like the network accessible storage. It's like this. It's like a mini computer that runs hard drives that you then plug in to an Ethernet cable, so it like transfers over like 10 gigabit connection. So you can like have. It's a really effective way to have an external hard drive. And it's gonna be a total of like 16 terabytes is like what my total is gonna be.
Okay.
External.
Wow, you need to store that much data.
Yeah, and that's also why I'm using the fucking document processor thing to like lower the like amount so I can store even more. I'm thinking on multiple levels. I'm like, I want to up my storage, but also lower the amount. I want to increase the like content per storage to be higher. So I'm like storing even more, kind of thing. So I'm like
best equilibrium, where you have the ability to change your external environment, but you're still. I mean, these are both external things, but in terms of you're still changing things that you still have some of the cards in your hand regardless, and you're changing those as well as changing grabbing the other cards off the other person's hand. Yeah, I think that's that's awesome. Yeah, respect that. I like the that's what I love about self-sufficiency and or just gaming culture in general. It's just that always there's always an avenue that you see, and I think what frustrated me where or I hated hanging around with my parents because especially my mom just incredibly slow at doing things. I want to do something and I want to do it quickly, and then I want to do it even quicker than I did before because why am I going to spend a lot of time just being languid? I don't want to do that, especially at a part of the process that I don't care about. Or I find it more fun to do things in a faster way, right? Just gaining enjoyment from a different thing. And so seeing my mom just, slowly walking down, I'm thinking, can we not do this faster so, we can do the stuff that we find fun? Why do we need to, spend so much time
really dallying?
Yeah, I just want to go fast, please.
Yeah, same.
So I super triggered by that. And see, I think the not the gamer mindset, but the hardcore sort of speed run challenge runner mindset is being in that context. I start seeing everything in that way. I need to shave time off of this and that, and I think it's really fun to engage in life in that way, or at least because I can see it being a bad thing as well. Whereas, I need to maximize my time for what? Oh, so I can work even more hours, and then at the job I don't care about. That's super really bad.
That's where you're getting fucked over, I think.
Hold on, let me go and get a drink.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm back,
Welcome
Mr.
back.
Rapt.
Yeah, that's why I said too. Is like, oh wait, sorry. What were you gonna say? I
Something
zoned
to
out for
do.
half a second.
It's way too fasty. I don't even know if I want to continue that conversation. I think it's reached its conclusion, unless you have something else to say about that.
I mean, no, not necessarily.
I wanted to talk about not more, and just remind me of consumerism.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't even fully understand. I have my own conception of consumerism. But I was thinking Japan trip. I'm thinking definitely want to write a list of things that if I'm gonna go there, these are the things I want to buy, because there are going to be particular things that I only could get in Japan, but then also I would want. So right now, well, actually, so I plunged myself into the Japanese Ocean, and it was purely I didn't see the end. I didn't care about seeing the end because I enjoy the process. I think the process is really fun. I think that's the best way to view life. Otherwise, it's I think that's how you can get into the stuck in the cycle of I really need to make money, and so in a context where, let's say, you don't even need to work as hard to still have a fun sustainable life, but people would overwork themselves to reach particular goals and then go, wait, that's just 10-15 years of your life just gone slaving and then having really poor meals, and then the days are just merging together, and then you don't even remember that part. You don't really remember that part of your life, and that's a really scary thought process to be, because what's that? It's you are actually not practicing mindfulness. It's the opposite. It's not and Sam Harris goes into further there, but I was talking about specifically in being in that moment of the wife saying to the wife, I love you. It's knowing that exists. I think this is the opposite of mindfulness, where you're trying to make sure these other contexts don't exist because they're not fun to engage in. Once you're overworking yourself because you're going to be really tired and you can't engage in the things that you want to have fun with, and you want to evaporate that from your mind, because it's not fun to realize that's the context that you're living in. It's not fun. You don't want to acknowledge that, and so you're practicing the opposite of mindfulness. But then also, it's your time is just going so much faster now that your life is kind of just shorter in terms of perception wise. It is a shorter life that you're living, and that's not good. That's really, I think that's really unfun. And so this what was I going to relate to? Japan consumerism,
mindfulness, consumerism, the Japanese trip.
Oh,
that you want to make a
mindfulness.
list of things.
Yes.
And how you want to also make a list of things that you want to purchase in Japan, so you don't get
yes. I want to be mindful in terms of the particular things I want to buy, because I'm going to want to buy things that I can't get. And that's not particularly an excuse, because I know that we'll make justifications and then explain them afterwards. As also something that I'm learning, and that makes a lot of sense to me intuitively, at least. The thing is, I'm not really even that much of a buyer. I just don't buy things. I'm in a context where I can't even buy things.
Same.
But because I've been like, here's the thing. Yeah, I've been learning mahjong. And now I'm getting on the thought loop that I was talking about. Which is, I threw myself in the ocean. I'm trying to be mindful of all my experiences, rather than I'm trying to reach the end. That's where the mindfulness thing came in. Being mindful of the experience, I'm having a lot of fun, and I've started my fingertips, just the first atom of my fingertips have started touching the rock of fluency. I've been swimming here, and I'm going, hold on. So in October, I had so many tabs open. It would be like 50 plus tabs open of just grammar rules. I finished them, wrote them down in Obsidian, wrote my own cards, and then put them in my deck.
Love it.
Now I'm confidently reading, still with quite a bit of help. My highlighter tool, I use that quite often because I still don't know. Actually, I think I know pretty much every word. Some of the words that are coming up in here are not even in the highlighter tool. They're very mahjong specific terms.
That's awesome.
But now I'm confident enough to read Japanese that I'm looking things up in Japanese to find out what these terms mean. And on Google, I'm not even specifically now. I use the AI tool, and because I know enough enough about the language and the structure is that I've got the rules in my head. I can identify the rules as long as they're pointed out to me. But sometimes I can't identify the rules in the sentence, and so I'll put it in AI. But when I look things up, I'm very conscious to go, okay, let me read, because the AI can specifically pinpoint specific terms that I want, but I want to go on Google because then I have to look for the right website and I have to do that all in Japanese. So that's part. I'm being mindful of the process. I'm realizing that I'm still learning from the process. So I'm doing these particular things of looking up things on Google, going onto a Mahjong article, and then I have to identify in Japanese, like I do in English, if something is worth reading or not. Yeah, exactly.
Yes, exactly.
And so that's when I started feeling, okay, I'm comprehending a game that's, so reaching Mahjong is quite a bit more complex than regular Mahjong. Mahjong is a fairly complex board game already. So reaching Mahjong, way more complex, and I have to now comprehend what everything means in Japanese. So that's particularly tough. But this myopia that I have, AI's been helping me quite a bit in terms of, okay, Ishon, there are particular things like near and together, which have more of a wider range of meanings that the AI taught me. And it makes sense in terms of, okay, oh, this makes sense, because I'm very skeptical of the AI. Honestly, being really good, because I know the rules enough to know, okay, it's not bullshit to me here, because now I've identified the rule myself. I know it's being absolutely correct here. And I've only started utilizing the AI now that I know these things. That I didn't want to utilize it at the beginning, so it took me, a year and a half just to even start utilizing the AI, because I wanted to make sure 100% that I'm learning the language in the correct way.
Bullshit. Exactly.
And so it's surprisingly really good. And now I'm touching the fluency. I'm really feeling it. I'm really feeling, okay, if I keep reading and if I keep engaging in this Japanese context, I'm reading things now completely in Japanese. If I keep doing this and then just reinforcing the rules to the point where I can identify them now in actual sentences, at least for reading wise, gonna get really fluent, but then also listening to Japanese. I've been listening to Japanese, and I haven't really been watching anime. I don't know if I told you this, but I haven't been watching anime basically since I started learning Japanese. And so starting to watch anime, because I started I finished Chainsaw Man. There's a short anime, and then the movie came out, and I started watching Chainsaw Man just because the conversation I had with you about the particular manga panel, because I've read the manga. And at that manga panel with Power and Benji and their particular relationship, and people trying to define them into boxes when you can't define them with your specific like English speaking terms that exist. Usually people say, oh, they're in a relationship with their friends. It's like, can we not have way more terms to describe the particular love that they have to each other? This is really you there is a, if you put them into one category, you've cut half the relationship off, so it doesn't make any sense. You're now no longer describing the relationship. And so anyway, that's why I started watching it. And I'm rewatching Akagi sing somewhat. I'm learning Mahjong, so I'm continuously rewatching scenes and I'm just able to pick up. Now, I'm not able to pick up, actually some full sentences I can, but not long ones. And Japanese sentences, because they cut off notoriously a lot, I'm able to pick up, oh, wait, okay, that's how they're using it. That's how they use future tense. You don't actually need to put a will.
Like, cut off a lot. I'm sorry, I just want to make sure I understand.
Okay, so pronouns. So let's say...
Wait, well, actually, I need to grab something real quick. I'll be back in a second.
Okay.
Okay, I'm back.
Okay. So let's say the phrase. So on the subtitles, I'm watching the subtitles in English, but I'm listening obviously in Japanese, just like a normal sub. And I'll hear it will say "I will kill you," but it will just say shinu, which just is the verb for kill. But in this context, it means in the context, you can sort of surmise, okay, this is how you use it. You just using the basic verb it can also mean into the future. It's not necessarily the present tense, depending
Okay.
on the context, because obviously he hasn't killed the person and he's not in the middle of
Right.
killing it. Also, there's a form for in
Right,
the
right.
middle of
So
something.
it's a threat. It's a threat, a future, a threat.
Right, and I can surmise it, and plus I already know I've read enough about the rules, so I can go, oh, this is triggering something in my head now. So now I'm connecting these two things in terms of seeing it in a real situation, and then the thing that I read, because I've read the rule, but being able to identify it, that's the important part. So now I'm connecting these two things together, and so and you see how they've cut off so much. It's I will kill you. It's in Japanese they don't usually say I'm gonna do something. They don't do that a lot, and so it's usually the action, and then he's obviously talking to he's facing the person. he's in a one-on-one mahjong match. Of course he's talking talking about the other person, so they just meant that too. So it's just shinu, even though it's like I will kill you
when you hear that, right?
Mm-hmm. And so getting the what you call it, actually being able to pick out some things and re-listening, and I'm not even really even particularly trying to listen out for particular things, but I'm going, oh, I'm really hearing these things now. Not complete sentences, but particular words. Some complete sentences, but it will be once maybe a few paragraphs, and then I'll hear a full sentence and I'll go, oh, I understood that, or actually I just understood everything that they just said. And if it was slowed down enough and I was really trying to pay attention, I probably could pick up most of what they're saying. But just being able to passively listen to it and pick it out some things, I'm going, okay, wow,
That's so rewarding.
I didn't know I could do this because I've not practiced this at all. I've sort of been evading it because I'm really scared. So I'm really scared because the language has so many homophones, because there are not many sounds in the language, and then the way they form the words are in the Chinese fashion, which obviously Chinese words are notoriously compact in terms of they have a sound, and then so they do a 2-character system. Same Chinese and Mandarin actually does this. Is a very specific Mandarin thing, but Japanese does that thing as well, where you'll have 2 characters. So it will have basically be like shu to or something. So that's just 2 consonants together, and that's it. That's all you get. That's usually just the most advanced concept will just be 2 consonants, max 4. That's quite small. And so obviously when you hear shu, sho, to, and then to, which is also a short vowel, so a lot of how they differentiate the words are short vowels, and very similar sounds like shu and sho, like quite similar relative. Now I can identify them way more now that I'm more used to the context of the language, but before I couldn't. And so I was really scared to engage in listening, but now that I'm sort of just passively listening, I'm going, it's coming. It's coming all. I don't know why everything is just happening at once, but I'm reading way more now. And in Japanese, I'm not specifically skipping between the things. I'm searching now things up in Japanese to inquire about the things I don't understand in Japanese. Okay, that's really good. That's really good that I can do that and feel confident and actually getting the answer to my question while I'm doing that. So fluency is coming, and so I'm thinking, okay, this Japan trip, okay, now
much more possible.
Yeah, definitely way more possible. And I'm thinking, okay, I need to specifically because we're on the consumer thing. I'm thinking, okay, well, I probably want to buy particular things, but what would I want to engage in terms of what would I want to buy? I probably do particular style things where I think they have way more of a in terms of their clothes culture. I think they just have way more of a thrift clothes culture. Now I'd have to look into that, and I definitely would look into that, but I don't because I'm like half hikikomori. I don't have clothes that I wear to places. You know, I have my cycling clothes, but I don't really have. I don't have a wide range of things, and I think okay, probably should do that. Probably should get a enough of a varied wardrobe where I have 4 outfits I can wear for a range of things that you would usually do throughout the year. I think those would probably be really good. But then I don't think I would actually just ever. I don't know if I would want maybe a mahjong set or something. I don't know if I would play it in person. And if I would have to be particularly into mahjong, I wouldn't just want to buy something just because I got into mahjong now. You know, if I might
Right,
end
a
up
little
not
trinket.
liking it.
Right.
So why the fuck would I buy a mahjong set? And why would I plan that even though I've only just started even just watching it and getting into it? I could just be more of a spectator, and therefore I never play it, and therefore I just have a waste of a mahjong set. I don't want to buy something that I'm never going to use. I have to be very sure of, okay, I want to get this, and then, okay, if I'm buying an IRL mahjong set, who am I going to play it with? Because this is a complex
Right.
game. I would basically have to, and it's a 4-player game.
Okay. I didn't know that. I
So
thought it was a 2-player game.
no, 4. So yeah,
Yeah,
why
you're
would
gonna
I
be
buy?
with 4 different players by yourself.
Exactly. Yeah. So who am I playing this game with? Who am I teaching the rules with? I mean, I could. We're a 4-person household, so I could definitely teach the rules. But is this going to be a consistent thing that I'm going to do? All these conditions are probably not going to be met. So mahjong set, probably not going to buy one. But then I could get into a situation where I find people. But then now I'm doing this excuse thing. Now I want to find ways where I can buy this thing, but I'm just coming up with excuses. I'm trying to fit this emotion, fill this emotion of I want to buy this because I really want to have this mahjong set, and so I'm coming up with things. No, let me just have these strict rules that I have. I'm probably not going to play it, and if I can't guarantee it, then why the fuck am I going to engage in it? No, I shouldn't. I can buy a mahjong set at any time.
Definitely also
Obvious.
though have a semi-discretionary budget where you can decide like because you don't know what you're gonna see until you see it. So like it's like oh it's good to have like a set of things you wanna like be like yeah like what would be important for me to get, what do I not need, what do I like, but then also it's like well also make sure you have a chance to oh I didn't even know about this, I didn't even know like this existed, like have some ability to do it, but then like limit that too to like a certain budget, you know.
Right. How much is the gambling budget where it's how much are you willing to lose, and that's your budget that you
Yeah,
go into
exactly.
a casino with.
Exactly. Like I think it's that thing.
Mhm,
It's like with consumerism. It's like
mhm,
yeah, because like straight up though, it's like oh, like there are times where it's like oh, I didn't even know that those books existed for me to like
mhm.
get, you know.
But
So it's
part of
like
me feels that I'm working within the system in terms of I'm still engaging in that thing, and I don't want to engage in that thing ever. I'm doing that full on cold turkey of if I see something,
but
yeah, I might want it, but I want to do that.
I think there's a difference between
Mhm,
existing like that in
mhm,
a day-to-day sense of like, oh, part of my life is going to the store and seeing what they have and then deciding
mhm,
what I want to get from what they have
mhm.
versus like you're traveling to a fundamentally new place.
Uh,
Like it's more
that I can't go
reasonable to
back
be
to.
willing to exactly like it's just
Yeah.
more reasonable to be willing to buy things that are
Mhm,
like or just have a slightly like a just a discretionary budget that allows you to be like, oh, okay, you know, but then by limiting it that way, I think
mhm.
you like still have the like I'm not being like
Frugal
fully
mindset.
gypped.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I have some level of like, you know, some level of
Mhm.
limitation.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I think having some discretionary budget, but the thing is, it's gonna be, it's gonna be like max revives in Pokemon. Don't know if you get that reference, but
No,
really, you basically only get, or a Master Ball in Pokemon, you only get one, and it can capture any Pokemon without fail. And then
right.
people just never end up using it because it's so valuable when you only get one that
They
why
save
would
it.
you ever use it? Um, yeah, just like that in terms of
Kind of is, yeah.
I don't wanna use that money. But yeah,
Yeah,
no,
you don't want to use that mindset. But it's like I think with traveling, like I have it where it's like I'll get like if I and like honestly, like when I went to Spain, because I went to
mhm,
Spain like 3 or 4 times,
uh,
I haven't bought something like whoa. I didn't even know that. Like I don't
uh-huh,
usually find something that I'm like I need to get that. So it's like, but
mhm,
just having it in my mind that like, oh, if I
mhm,
wanted to, and I saw something that I really wanted, like I'll
mhm,
know it when I see it, you know. But I'm
mhm.
like, I'm not like fucking.
I'm not gonna negotiate on site, and that's why I build up the plan in terms of
Yeah. Okay.
what am I actually willing to buy here. I'll definitely buy a
Right.
Go set though. I think Go. Um, I want to definitely read up the rules on. I mean, I've just been watching Go videos. But it's mono y mono, and no RNG, and it's in a place where it fixes things that I have problems with chess. Where in
Okay.
chess, there is a heavy tie. You can tie in chess, you cannot tie in Go.
Right.
So a lot of the end meta game is sort of trying to, the losing player will just force a draw. To me, just the idea of somebody forcing a draw where you're in that losing part and that's the best you can do. You can't go for the win. Oh, that's painful. Whereas in Go, the and black and white advantages that exist in
Right, in chess.
chess.
Yeah.
That does not exist in
That's not
Go.
in Go. Gotcha. Yeah,
Because
I did look into the Go thing, by the way, with the Alpha Go. Like, I saw the documentary when it came out originally.
Yeah.
About the the defeat of the best Go player, and
at the time it wasn't the
I
best,
think
but yeah.
at the time he was the best, but now he's not. Like,
No, he wasn't at the time, but he was the best before this point.
oh, okay.
That he lost. He was at top 5, so he was really, really good. I think top 4, I think, at that point. But he was,
Gotcha,
I think,
gotcha.
#1 player for a few years in the late noughties. So, it wasn't the best at that point in the game, though. But Go, that's definitely a game that I could see. By the time I do a Japan trip, I don't know how long. Definitely not anytime soon. By soon I mean, in the span of a year. It would be beyond that point. But I could see myself getting into Go just because of it's only a 2-player game, and it's no RNG. I really like that aspect of just at least no in-game RNG, right? Obviously outside game factors, it's like, oh, my hormones are acting weird today. Yeah, it's like, oh, of course those
human
exist,
RNG.
right?
Human RNG. I've had like an allergic reaction to like something. I don't even realize my stomach's off. Like,
Yes.
human RNG. Yeah.
But in-game RNG, none, and you have it's equal because there's something called Comey where you get white gets points added to their score at the end of the game to make up for their deficit of going late.
Okay.
So that's really interesting. No ties too, because it's a 0.5 points that you get. And also to you can play on smaller boards too. That's what they recommend for a lot of beginners because the game is just 2 different pieces, which is white and black stones, and you just put them on the board, and so you
And
can.
you're trying to capture area, right?
Yes, yeah. So wow, to me this game sounds. I said, oh, Frenzy, you into Go? He said, no, I never played Go. I never played Go in my life, and he said something about Magnus Carlsen saying it's more complicated than chess. Which depending on how you view that statement, yeah, of course, an AI took more there are more move variations, and so there are more moves to play, of course. If that's what complex means to you, then sure.
Right.
But that doesn't specifically translate to, oh, you need 2 times the IQ. Obviously that's not how it works.
No,
the more complicated it is, the more games zombies is infinitely more complex than chess in terms of possibilities the game offers, because there are more game states the game can exist in, and therefore that obviously breeds more complexity. That's where the complexity or the supposed complexity in Go comes from, in comparison to chess. So of course, but that doesn't mean that the people that are playing zombies are more sophisticated. Of course, definitely not.
Right.
Would you say?
That's like what I think. No, I like exactly. Like, it's not like we're like looking at MC being like, dude, to be like an MC. Yeah, I mean, it's like
exactly. So
also that's why I think Go actually does have that status, because it's like so many people play it from such a young age, especially in like China and stuff, and like the fact of like, oh, and obviously in Japan too, but like the fact of like the competition plus the complexity, like that's what's so, I think, a big part of it so crazy, I'm
surprised Go is way more underground, because only people bring up that match, the Lisa Low versus AlphaGo. They only bring up this match. That's the only people that know for Go.
I know too.
Yeah, and what's funny? Lisa though said that the most he's ever been cheered was that match when he won the 4th game. That was the most he's been cheered in his career, and that's basically what he's known for. It's just losing to AlphaGo. That's his most.
One.
Yeah, but getting one. Yeah, getting that one match. Yeah, that's really funny.
That's funny.
Yeah, really weird career, but also who the fuck cares what, outside of, they don't even know, they don't understand the game, so yeah, doesn't matter,
Well, I
at
think
least to me.
that's what the documentary was about like an advertisement for AI. They
Hmm.
they saw the fact that, I mean, because AlphaGo, like, that's a Google connected thing. Like, they saw the
Hmm.
fact that Gary Kasparov losing in that chess to the IBM machine was like
Hmm.
such a big deal for the, like, oh, computers are here and they're gonna take over, and like they're like, how can we recreate that except in AI, right? Because they're trying to get
Hmm.
funding for it. They're trying to like push it in the public imagination. So that whole thing was an advertisement for
Hmm.
AI. It wasn't, it had almost nothing to do with Go. It was like purely
Hmm.
about the idea of human versus machine. And wow, the machines are starting
Sure.
to win at a game we didn't think they could win. It's like it's
Hmm.
all advertising, right?
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and that's the sort of people project a lot of those feelings. That's why people were cheering for Lee Sedol more so when he won that game,
Right.
because it was outside the match. It was way more about, it's like, oh wow, you were a human, you won against the machine. This is
Man, this machine, yeah.
yes. Yeah, selling that narrative is actually genius. I didn't even think about it from that angle, but it's so obvious now that you mention it. So yeah, that is the best way to sell that, which is building that narrative. And how do you do it?
Yeah.
Well, get a game
Oh,
that's really
genius
respected.
human. Like, because that's another thing. It's like, oh, I'm just a normal person. I can't even imagine having such a big brain as Lisido that I like fucking can play this game in that way, right? Like, and
Mhm.
again, that's just a matter of the amount of time he's put into it and the kind of career that he's had, and obviously some level of technical and mechanical and memorization and spatial awareness and stuff like that. But it's
Mhm.
also just like he spent his whole life doing it. So, but to us, it's like, wow, that's so impressive. Like, I can't even imagine. And then here he is taking on a machine that is supposed to be doing it it's like it's perfect advertising in the sense of like, if he's getting beaten by this machine, what does that say about me, right?
Mhm. I love how people can narrativize that. It's really funny. Um, and so it's funny how I got into a goal conversation. We're in throughout the Japan trip, but Go is really sparking the mind in a way that at least video games haven't since.
Oh, that's actually really interesting. Like, you're really feeling that way. Like, this is like something that's really, wow. Like,
But yeah,
you know,
definitely.
you've had a fun time playing it. Really, okay, nice.
I haven't, no, I haven't played it. Just watching it, and
Oh, just
I'm
watching.
just
Okay.
watching it, and then seeing people discuss it in a way that it's like, oh, this is how we talk about zombies. This is how we talk about,
Oh,
Minecraft.
okay.
This is. I'm thinking, okay, this is in a way where, but it's in a way where I actually respect the game.
Sure.
There are lots of games where people will talk about it really technically, and I go, okay, that's cool, but I don't care about the game. I don't care about, Bikini Bottom SpongeBob, but cool tech that you showed and you explained it through, the code in the game, and buses 35 frames. That you explained it in that sense, like, okay, I understand. But this is in a way where it's like, this game is cool because there is no RNG, and I like that. I don't like that RNG aspect that exists in a lot of games. I think there is cool aspects of RNG, of course, that exist, but I think it's severely limiting. Because I watch competitive Pokemon too, and I like the explanations of all the different moves and stuff. And
Yeah.
I like the I only watch singles. I've been watching singles since I was a kid. So not the, because I know you've mentioned Wolfie before,
Yes.
and
Yeah. Yeah. The main guy.
he's VGC. Um, I don't
Oh.
watch VGC. I watch singles. Singles is
Okay.
community run, and they preserve old meta games, so I don't even watch the newer shit. Sometimes I do because
Okay.
Blunder uploads the newer stuff. But old meta games are, they're all preserved with all their mechanics that existed at that time. Like basically just a near perfect recreation of them. Gen 4 isn't particularly faithful because there would be acid rain, which is a crazy glitch that exists um in the games, but I don't want to get into that. But it's preserved to the point where it's okay. Well, normal type Pokemon cannot be paralyzed by the move Body Slam, which is a normal type move, and so we're
Okay.
implementing that into our emulator. I super respect that, the level of recreating meta games that existed in the 90s. So
That's really
people
impressive.
play it
Yeah.
today. This is awesome. I like the preservation in a way that obviously it's sort of against their incentives to preserve these meta games, because then you're spreading your player base out across multiple generations. But not only that, is that they're not buying the new game. And so you don't want to do that. You just want to, you know, keep with the VGC, they just want to keep moving on to the next game, and then this is, you know, whatever. So there is no preservation. And unlike these older, unlike the fan-made communities, which of course would super care about that because they super care about the game, and the new game doesn't necessarily mean it's better than the old game. Of course, we, you know, BO1 players of course would understand this. You know, BO2 fucking sucks in comparison. So
Yeah.
so we preserve BO1. Same thing with this is that, you know, Generation 3 Pokemon is, you know, considered, you know, very good competitively in singles, very strong. And so people preserve that and have tournaments and run them. But I would never play it because it's a massive RNG fest, and so I understand everything that's happening in the game because I played it as a kid. I understand all these things. I'm just adding on to the knowledge that I already have. I could probably be a, you know, a competent player if I played it because I'm working with, you know, decades of knowledge now. But I'll never play it just because the RNG factor. But the fact that there is no RNG, the fact that you can't go, oh, you know, bad stomach. That's it. That I just lost because of this, and it's just explainable in a way where I can't go on, you know, dogs
Okay,
just didn't give me the worth.
Yeah, dog shit. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
To me,
It's like, it's such there's so much excusing when there isn't that like level playing field.
And somebody that is obsessed with that, you know, the mentality to be frugal in particular at particular points, or to not wear glasses, you know, these all come from control, which is, even though I don't hold all the cards, I cling on to the cards that I do have and try and control the context. This is the same thing where I get full control over what's happening. This is really good. This is awesome. This is why did nobody tell me about this game? I can't believe this. Why is this a hidden game? Why is this an Easter egg? Fuck chess. Even though chess is very much in the same vein, I just think that this is just a better version of it because, well, you don't have draws, and I think draws suck, and there is even more move variation. For
me, it's like I can't watch it though. Like I can't watch chess for some reason. Like I feel like chess is only, especially the like non-blitz stuff, where it's like they're fucking,
I agree with
they're
you.
thinking for so long about it. Like I'm like, dude,
unless
I could simulate, unless I can simulate like the like 5-6 moves ahead like they can, it's like I feel like it's only enjoyable on their level of understanding, and I'm like not even close, you know what I mean? It's like I'm like, you know, like I'm like honest with that about myself. I'm like, there's no shot that I'll enjoy it in the way that I should, because it's just so like, it's so next level relative to where I can even comprehend, you know?
Oh yeah, the long games are complete.
It's a little bit like that with Go though for me right now. Like I just, if I was to look at it, like I couldn't appreciate like the position of like, oh, this guy is in like a, you know.
Oh, I think it's, looking at the boards right now, I need heavy explanation of wait, that's what's happening. It just does not make any sense. But I like that learning process. The uncomfortableness of not knowing something, and then but still having fun. That's like, oh yeah, you know, if I keep at this, I will progress, and it's fun learning anyway, regardless of if I even reach that point. I was like, oh, I'm just give up on this. But I completely understand what you mean with chess in terms of, I just agree. I don't like those firework games. I like the blitz of, oh, you only have, you know, 3 seconds to make a move and that's it. That's what it should be.
I don't. Yeah. Otherwise,
that should be the practice game. The practice game is that you get a whole bunch of time to do that, and then you get to play. That's actually something that I never understood about chess, because I feel as though competitive formats in a lot of other games they constrict your time more than the actual, you know, sort of casual mode has you play. It's super constricted in a way, because you would expect a good player to be able to make faster judgments because they've seen these patterns so many times. But it's, and obviously that's true, because you see, you know, Nakamura, the way he's the first guy, I think, why people latched onto chess in a way that they didn't do before, because he's streaming.
The Nakamura Japanese guy. He's like explaining it.
And he's
Hikaru
Nakamura, and you see that he's drawing things on the board, he's doing moves in advance, but also he's playing in 5 minutes. He's playing in 3 minutes. That's the total amount of time in the game. And so that's the conception of chess that people are building up. It's like, wait, this is what chess is? This is cool. This is fun. This is actually something that's compact. digestible and
Yeah.
also still very skill expressive. And so I think that's why it's particularly successful. And then you see tournament chess. It's like, oh, I want to watch Hikaru in the tournament, and it's like, I can't watch this. I can't look at a board. I don't have the time to just sit there and look at the board with him and then go, okay, let's conceptualize these moves, and then have some boring commentators. No, I don't want that. I want to have like lines all over the screen of him explaining things while he's sort of explaining his full process, and that's really fun. And it's quick. It's very quick. You can see the tension of where you see. I think once you reach a certain threshold of seconds, seconds just keep getting out. You can't go past what do you call it? Go lower than a certain second threshold, and so you still have like 0.35 seconds to decide the next move every time, even if you go under that. So it just keeps resetting to that point, and seeing him keep doing that where he's still figuring out moves, and it's still a high level game in terms of that the game is just not collapsing and he's winning, or the other person is or he's not completely collapsing. It's like, wait, they're still making moves in terms of there's still mind games happening. What the fuck is happening here? This is awesome. Now, I don't know if it would be, as I'm sure a lot of complexity is gone just because they're not 5-hour moves, but also I think that just makes 5-hour moves seem fucking stupid to me. The fact that you get to think all day for a move, that's fucking stupid. Fuck that. That's boring.
Sorry, I just being told some stuff.
Okay, nice.
Yeah, like I just don't. I for me, it's like there's like something where it's like I wish I had more time almost sometimes. Like I wish I had time to like learn all these cool games and like understand all this stuff, because it's just like I just don't feel like I get a full appreciation out of either Go or chess by like my current level of understanding. And it's like I just feel like I have to put so much time in to get like slightly more of an understanding. That's just like I don't even know if it's like worth doing.
Yeah. That makes so much sense. Yeah. That's why I'm glad I have the time to just go on a side quest, and it just this only just coincides with my Japanese learning. I don't think I would learn Go.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Because I've come across Go with prior to this. I just wasn't learning Japanese at that point, so I'm going, this looks really cool. But now wait, let me just go and read the rules, try and comprehend this in Japanese, and then I can actually start playing this game and then looking strats up in Japanese. And it's just a massive feedback loop of I'm learning this and then learning Japanese at the same time. So that's already what's happening with Mahjong right now, where I'm talking to the people in the group chat, they tell me a term, I'm going, wait, this is a strategy, and then they'll tell me another term, and I'm going, what the fuck is this Tsuji thing? And then it's just a fundamental thing of identifying tiles, and so I looked that up and then just read the article that's on that. So already I haven't even I've downloaded Mahjong, but I haven't even started playing yet. I'm just simply reading the rules, and then there's the infinite permutations of, okay, I don't know what this means, I'm gonna look this up, and then I'm verifying in the group chat on what this means, and they tell me, and then they're using another term that I don't know what that means, and then so I look that up, and so it's just going on and on and on. So and
really
it's great. Two things at once. It's good.
I gotta go to dinner, but I will talk to you later. That's what I was told. All right, I will talk to you later.